Congressman Tèvés hindi matanggap ang parusang nag-aabang sa kanya. Tinawag na April's Fool joke ni Atty. Ferdinand Topacio ang claim ni Justice Secretary Jesus Crispin Remulla na 99% nang solve ang kaso sa pagkawala ni Negros Oriental Ruel de Gamo. Ngunit tiniyak ni Topacio na hindi ang kanyang kliyente na si Kong Tèvés ang nahuli ng NBI. Katunayan ay kausap niya pa ito kagabi sa telepono at sinabing nasa ibang bansa siya. Sinabi ni Topacio na kung totoong 99% ng lutas ang kaso, paano pa maididiin sa kaso si Tèvés? Kung 0.1% na lang pala ang bahagi nito sa kaso. Anya kung tunay na hawak na ng otoridad ang umano'y main player sa pagkawala ni De Gamo, bakit mag-aantay pa ng 2 araw bago ito iharap sa media? Sinabi pa ni Topacio na kung 100% ng payag si House Speaker Martin Romualdez sa mga request ni Tèvés na ligtas na pagbabalik sa Pilipinas, agad na babalik ang kanyang kliyente sa bansa. Hindi naman nilinaw ni Topacio kung saan idediretso si Tèvés. Oras na bumalik sa Pilipinas para na rin sa kaligtasan ng mambabatas.
Getting to know more of his role, more information is coming in about him and of the people he worked with. So everything continues. Actually, as I said earlier, the case is practically closed na yan, save for a few details. Pero we consider it solved already. That the masterminds and the actors, the participants are all already under custody, save for 1 or 2 who maybe will still have to account for what they did.
Sir, understand kahapon, kasama dun sa inquest niya, dinala din yung 10 na other suspects. Bakit po sila dinala? For identification?
Some of them had to reaffirm their affidavits. Let's put it that way.
May new items, sir, sa
I'm not sure anymore. The details escaped me already. As far as I know, that we have gotten to the point where we can win the cases already once filed. So most of the cases have been filed, save for a few. And I think that we're in a position to convict people already.
Sir, when you say cases have been filed before,
Yes.
can we know how many have been filed and kung saan?
If you want the number, it's a lot. Because you're talking about, so far, 13 respondents or 12 respondents. And with 27 cases each. And excluding Tèvés, yes.
Sir, may we confirm information coming from the wife of Governor De Gamo na 2020 pa raw nahuli na si Warwin Miranda involving an attempt to kill Mr. De Gamo.
No, he was caught illegally possessing firearms. And I think he was convicted for it. Yes, but I think he pleaded to a lesser offense. He was able to go on probation. I think he's supposed to be on probation, so that will make him a recidivist, as far as we're concerned.
So kaya siya nasa labas because of that probation?
Yes.
Sir, when will the NBI file the complaints against Tèvés regarding the Gamo case?
We have to, as ang sabi ko nga, pa-file nila rito yan, tapos pagkatapos doon, due process pa tayo. So that will be a process that we will have to grin and bear because that's how it is. Due process is time for being patient.
Sir, na-inform na kayo kung kailan nila pala?
Wala pa.
Sir, NBI Director De Lemos was here
Yes,
earlier.
yes.
Ano po yung mga na-discuss niyo with him?
Marami kaming discuss about the cases that we're handling now. Because we're handling a lot of cases. This is not the only one. So we just got updates about the people that we're working with. Some appointments of the president in the NBI. And other things that have to be said and have to be reviewed by us. In fact, there's another set of people waiting for us again to brief us about other cases that we have to handle for the next few months. And that would be very, very important to the way that many of the prosecutions will run for the next few months. Marami pa rin, may briefers pa rin kami hanggang mamaya. Hindi pa kami tapos. Iba na naman yung mag-brief sa amin tungkol sa ibang bagay na naman.
Sir, kung ano si Ambassador Udi, may development po sa
We're being patient with that. We just have to keep in touch all the time. I think that we will come to a resolution sooner or later. Ano lang talaga yan. It's just something that you have to roll with through time. Pero matatapos din yan.
Sir, kung sakaling mag-proceed tayo sa preliminary investigation sa Digamo case, tapos wala pa rin si Congressman Tèvés, paano kaya mag-proceed niyo?
Ayan, meron pa kaming ibang cases na pinag-aaralan na ipa-file that will be very significant. So, patience lang. We will do what can be done with what we have, and we have the information that we have, the evidence that we have. There are cases that we can file that are not yet in the menu of cases that have been filed.
Sir, should Tèvés not come back to the Philippines and then there is an arrest warrant? If we kill him and then we send the Interpol to catch him, what if he goes to a country that's not a member of the Interpol?
Let's put it this way. The world will be a smaller place for him. It's going to be very hard to run away from the law. The world will get smaller as time passes, because there are many cases that we have on the horizon that will make the world even smaller for him.
Sir, can we get your reaction? Si Atty. Topacio, ang sinabi niya is that hindi na masisisi yung kliyente niya kung hindi na ito bumalik pa.
I doubt if he's even the client of Mr. Tèvés, because I do not see any engagement letter. I want to see proof that he is the lawyer, and I will not honor anything he says. Mutual friends have come across to brief me about a few things, and that we expect him to file a counter affidavit to the charges. That's what I was told. But the lines are open as far as Henry Pride is concerned, considering the fact that he doesn't seem to be in the same boat as the older brother.
Sir, with the Holy Week coming up, do you have a message to the supposed mastermind? You don't think that
Repent. Ba? What else will I say?
Jesus says repent, sir?
Diba? Repentance. Diba? Ano eh? Time for us to look at our sins and to repent.
Yung sa Mindoro OSK, Marina mentioned that the common charge is filed. Marina mentioned
Ah.
we get more details.
Well, actually, we're trying to get information from Marina, more information from Marina. And because they committed to submit everything within the next few days, we held off any punitive actions or any actions that will embroil us further, so that we're asking them to cooperate fully with us. And as you heard earlier, there's only $203 million that are really up for helping us to clean up the environment and at the same time help the people affected by it. So it is not as big as first promise that it will be $1 billion. There's no such thing as $1 billion right now. And we have to work within a very small budget to be able to fix this oil spill. And it's going to take years for us to recover from this Mindoro oil spill. It is a crime against the environment. It's a crime against the Filipino people. And a lot of people should be held accountable for it. Besides the insurance company, which business it is, to compensate. But other people who are directly responsible for what happened, maybe even indirectly responsible for what happened.
Yung Marina formal charge is that administrative.
Administrative yun eh, yeah. But remember that we have the NBI also investigating the Marina's processes, so that we will know if charges will have to be filed. And as as we have discussed in the DOJ, this will not be a time for people to say na walang kaso ito. There will be cases filed. And we are determined to make sure that people do not forget that what happened was a crime and not an accident. It was a crime.
And the convention, for violating the convention, that will be charged to the insurance company.
Yes, the ship owner, insurance company, and other possible fund sources will have to be checked so that they can compensate our country or at least help us recover from this tragedy. It's an environmental tragedy that befalls us, that has befallen us.
This will be separate from the civil aspect in case criminal cases.
Yes, civil aspect is separate. Well, actually, the most important thing is to help us recover the environment, or at least the pristine condition that it had before this tragic incident, not accident. It's an incident. It's a tragic incident, which is in many ways an unspeakable crime.
Sir, the possibility of marine officials also being criminally charged?
Very possible. That's very possible. No one will escape scrutiny when it comes to this, because, as I said, it's a time for us to not only to repent, but to account for what we have done. And that's probably another message for the Lenten season, for those who have committed environmental crimes.
So in general terms, how about the owners of the boats?
Kasama sila. At least, ano na nga, for the first time, nagkaroon ng grounding ng vessels. No? We have never heard of this happen before, even in past tragedies when it comes to the sea. Ngayon lang yan nangyayari sa atin yan, na meron tayong grounding of vessels. And we will have to change the playbook that we know. Our maritime industry playbook should be changed for the benefit of the Filipino. Hindi na pwede yung gano'n na lang inaabot natin. And we will focus on this more. And hoping that it will not be replicated again in the future.
Second, another matter, lumabas na yung circular case nila.
Yes.
That imposes additional workload on the prosecutors. How do you think the prosecutors?
It's one step forward, one step backward. Or two steps forward, one step backward. Kasi it does not really impose more work. It just reminds them and reminds us that we have a big responsibility as the prosecution arm of the government. That we have to live by our with our promise to never file cases that will not be won. We have to file cases where the Filipino wins, so that the justice will be done. And we just want things to be looked upon with a higher standard. All of these prosecutions we have to raise the standard of prosecution, so that people will be deterred from committing crimes. They know that if the prosecution is able to prove cases with a system that works, then crime can be deterred, which is really the object of all crime and punishment, is deter the repetition of the same.
And just to clarify, sir, the last circular mentioned probable cause with certainty.
Reasonable certainty of punishment.
This time it's prima facie case.
Yes.
Reasonable certainty. So officially
It's a jump up. It's a jump up, and it imposes more responsibility upon us to help with help the law enforcement gather evidence properly, so that there will be no finger pointing. We are responsible together with the law enforcement agencies in building up a case against people who have violated the law.
Sir, sorry makulit. Tèvés Pagbalik. Pasensya po. Sir, sinasabi po ng kampo na pinag-aaralan nila na wag na lang dumalo kung sakasakali nga po ma-file na yung mga reklamo against him sa PI, kasi they feel na butong Macau daw po ang mangyayari at hindi daw po sila makakakuha ng patas na pagtingin. Ano po masasabi niyo po?
We are objective in what we do here. It's not a question of impartiality. It's a question of objectivity on whether we are saying the truth, whether we believe we're serving justice. And it is not our job to be judges. Our job is to prosecute. That's what we do here at the DOJ.
At pag pa rin siya dumalo sa mga PI, ano po mga...
I cannot be threatened by remarks like that. We do not accept threats like that of not participating because the law will proceed as it should, with or without their participation. Then we will force them to participate at some point in time.
Sir, going back to the oil spill, do we have a predicted timeline for how quickly we're going to try to get this done? We're chasing after liquid here.
Yes, we are looking at all the tools available at our disposal. We're looking at satellite images, we're looking at drone images, we're looking at the extent of the damage. We're asking the DNR to measure the extent of the damage caused the environment so that we know what we're facing. And that itself is one of the more important parts of the job, is to know how much damage has been inflicted. That we do not know as of now. We're talking about a 30-kilometer oil spill, maybe longer. We're talking about hundreds of kilometers affected already. So we're talking about a long process. It's a long process of recovery that we will have to undergo. We are not taking this lightly. That's why we got involved, because we have to get involved.
Sir, do you have a definite figure already as to the volume of
Well,
percentage estimates?
the estimate that they gave us today is that 600,000 liters of oil have already spilled out to the ocean, to the seas and to the oceans, and that is formidable. That amount is formidable, and it's scary. It's frightening, but we will have to live with it, and we will have to try our best to limit the damage, or at least recover from it properly.
And so far, ang nalilinis pa lang is
A few drums. Probably at the most 100 drums have been recovered out of all of this. And we just have to keep on going. We cannot stop. And the Coast Guard's responsibility is very big here. That's why we're looking at all the ways and means to be able to control the damage done to us by this tragic incident.
Sir, 100 drums is about...
That's only my personal estimate. I cannot because there's oil that has gone to the shores that we cannot measure, but they have to dig up. But that's all that we have recovered, which means that it's still there floating around or laying to waste many of the mangroves, many of the coral reefs, and many of the biodiversity that we have in this country. Okay, thank you.